All right, so we're going to do a little clearing because I didn't get a chance to do that for myself before starting here today. So we're going to do it together. First, I'm just going to ask permission. Can I, may, and shall I? Douse, am I ever able to connect to source information at this time? Are my intentions clear and from the light? Yes, everything is good. Is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? No, there's no reason I shouldn't. So then I'm just going to cleanse and clear myself. You're welcome to join me. And just closing your eyes, if it's safe to do so, imagine a blue-white light swirling counterclockwise around you. And we're just going to cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for my highest and best good. And we're just going to imagine that blue-white light clearing out, pulling out at the root anything that doesn't serve us as it's spinning around us counterclockwise. And it's just clear, clear, clear. Whatever doesn't serve us, cleanse, clear, and balance our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels. For our highest and best good, we're just removing everything that doesn't serve. Perfect. I did quite a bit of meditation this morning, so I'm feeling pretty grounded today, so I didn't think that would take too long. And then I'm just going to ask that my intuition be raised to the highest level that it can be accommodated with at this moment in time. Allow myself to hear clearly what is in everybody's highest and best good. Fabulous. All right. Fabulous. Hello. Hi, Yovita. Wonderful. And Trisha and Carolina, I'm so glad you're here. You're always included. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Jamie. And Jackie. Hello, everybody. Fabulous. All right, now I just asked for permission as to whether I can connect to you. So can I, man, shall I do a reading for my Insight Timer friends and family, both those that are listening now and those that tune in later? And I'm getting a yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? And it's switching directions. Nope, there's no reason not to at this moment in time. Then I'm going to ask that everybody's intuition be raised to the highest level that they can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow your souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. We're also just going to add a little container of creating a little bubble of protection around this container, around this live and anyone listening in, so that only the best of intentions and the highest of vibrations are allowed in, and everything else is repelled and sent to the feet of God where it can be transmuted into love. All right. Very good. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, well, let's get started. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Nancy from Nancy Inspired, and I have a gift that I call soul telepathy. And what that is I'm able to hear what your own soul is trying to tell you for your highest and best good, your highest evolution. When I do one-on-one readings, it's just all about you and your highest evolution. When I do a collective like this, it's sort of like everybody gets what is the collective messaging for everybody. So we usually start for the first part of the live is collective messaging, what's important for everyone to hear. And I do record that part and put it up on other platforms. And then the second part of the live, I take people's names and I do some individual readings. Please don't put your name in yet because it'll get lost in the chat. And so I will let you know when that is. So without further ado, let's get started. What is the first bit of messaging today? All right. First bit of messaging was about confidence and recognizing that we all have special gifts, special talents. And I'm not talking about like everybody's special, I'm talking that we were born with specific things that our characteristics, our traits, and all of the things that we carry, good, bad, happy, sad, challenging, or otherwise, celebrations are all part of a bigger divine plan, a bigger plan, and that we've all been given gifts. And as we work in our gifts, it's also that we then kind of develop more gifts. So the information, what I'm hearing is it's no different than learning how to play a musical instrument. You learn to read music, you play the notes, whatever, but then you can start playing with the music. You can play with other people. You can compose. Like it adds, so the development of one gift then can grow into more. And so what I'm hearing is spend some time within your gifts. What are your gifts? Now, a gift doesn't have to necessarily be, musical talent or artistic talent or intuitive talent or whatever. Maybe your gift is being able to hold space and being a really great listener. I have a neighbor who absolutely, that is his gift, in that he's able to hold space in such a way that he can make anybody feel comfortable in that space. And I consider that to be quite a talent. So spend some time understanding what some of your gifts are. And I'm hearing the word some because it's not like we just have one gift and, oh, here's our one thing we can do. It is, we have many gifts. And so spend some time this week cultivating, understanding, and living in some of our gifts. Now I'm hearing that some of us here have started to explore our gifts, but maybe they're not going as quickly or as well or whatever as we would like them to go. What I'm hearing is don't give up on them. Allow for these things to grow and ebb and flow, and as they become practiced, as they become kind of muscle memory, as they become natural, it can evolve. I'm hearing we live in a world where we see the best of the best all the time. We see, if you're on social media, you see sort of the final take. You see, the filtered face. You see that best of the best. We don't see all of the tries, all of the times, all the attempts, all of the practices. We don't see all of that. And so we forget how valuable all of that is. All of the failed attempts, all of the falls, all of the times it didn't work, all of the time, we don't see all of that. And so we are an impatient world. We are an impatient people where we want things to just happen at the drop of a hat. We want it. Okay, I want to learn how to do this. Bang, I want to do this. I'm going to learn how to read tarot cards, and then bang, I'm just going to know it all. It doesn't happen like that. I mean, maybe for a few select people it might, but that's not how it works. So what I'm hearing is in this next little while, the wording I just heard is, it is your responsibility. So rather than just a nice soft, hey, you should do this, I'm hearing it is your responsibility to develop your gifts and to live in your gifts and to figure out what are your gifts. And as they evolve and as they change, right? And maybe you don't know it's your gift just yet, but you're feeling called to, hey, I want to try this. I want to try making homemade bread. That's what I don't want to try that, but I just heard that, so maybe that's a goal for someone. And it might not feel like anything, but maybe it turns into an exploration on healthy uses of wheat, and because I don't know, that's just who knows what it will turn into, and not that it even needs to turn into anything. Because this is the next part I just heard. When you are developing your gifts, when you are living, I just heard, in your consciousness, that's the word I just heard. If you are living in your consciousness, you are then in divine connection. You are in that flow of creativity. You are in that flow of receiving messages. You are in that flow of your purpose. So when we are living in our divine gifts and being conscious of our divine gifts, it is our responsibility to do so. We've been put on this planet at this time, in this way, with these talents, with these struggles, with these whatever we have, and it's actually our responsibility to develop these gifts. And I'm hearing to tell you a story. I've always been a little intuitive. Like I've got lots of stories from when I was a kid that, things I did that didn't make a lot of sense to people. But when I really started diving in to kind of explore this gift and understand, it wasn't even this gift. This gift has evolved. It was more my intuition and kind of that sense of knowing, that clairsentience. And I started working with a woman who was helping me kind of be able to hear the gifts. And when I first started working with her, man, I had some crazy stuff. Like the information would come so fast sometimes that I would cry, I would lose feeling in my face. Like there was like all these things. And I remember thinking that, wow, this is a lot. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And now it comes so naturally that I forget sometimes how like it still came naturally, but it was a lot harder to figure out and manage and absorb that energy in my body and well, actually not absorb the energy, to feel the energy and allow it to move and all the different things. And then I find as I connect with people, even some of you that I've connected with, I've learned so much, and I continue to learn, and I continue to develop my gift, and I continue. And those of you that have allowed me to do readings for you, or my other people that every time I do, I feel like I learn something more, and I go a little deeper, and the more I use it, the more sort of powerful it becomes. And that's what I'm hearing, is that it doesn't necessarily just show up like, oh, here I am right now. It's, if you had watched the messy journey as we moved along, it definitely evolved. And I feel like it's still evolving. I recently had a meditation session where I was given sort of a next step to this gift that I'm trying to get comfortable with, that I'm not super comfortable with yet, but I recognize that, okay, it might be the next step. So I'm hearing, take a look at what are your talents, what are your gifts, what do you contribute? And if it hasn't fully unfolded yet, I'm not talking about, do you need to be a virtuoso on the piano? No. What are you drawn to? What are you excited about? What interests you? Maybe it's tinkering with cars. I don't know. Whatever it is, what are you drawn to? And further develop that gift. And there's more than one. It might be, I'm interested in this, and I'm interested in this. Me, myself, I want to learn how to watercolor paint, and I want to go deeper into meditation. I want to do some yoga. I want to, learn a dance form. I don't know. There's so many things that I want to try and do. Does that mean I'm going to start, performing and whatnot? No, been there, done that. Don't need to do that again. But maybe by being part of that class, I happen to encounter somebody that needs my energy the way that it is, or whatever, right? So I'm hearing, follow your pursuits. That's the word I just heard. Indulge in your pursuits. What are you interested in? What calls your soul? What makes you feel curious? And allow yourself to play, because as we play and as we're in that creative flow and as we are in that connective conscious state, as we're kind of following that drive, that desire, those learnings, it does put us into that creative flow. And anytime you're in that creative flow, you are in higher vibrational thinking, you are in higher vibrational feeling, and you are connected to that divine energy. And ultimately, anytime you are in higher vibrational mode, it automatically allows everyone else around you to continue to be in higher vibrational mode, or it allows them to elevate. So find your passions. Find your passions. I also heard it might change. You might be really passionate about one thing at one time, and then you're passionate about something else at another time. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be the be all and end all. At one point I was a belly dancer and was performing and all kinds of stuff. And now it's like, it feels like a completely different person, a different lifetime. I don't do that anymore. But I was very passionate at that time about it. It doesn't have to be anything. That's the next bit of messaging I'm starting to hear, is that when you are in creative mode, and we say this so many times, and I hear this message so many times, that when we are in creative mode, when we are in a place of creation, when we are creating something, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be like artistic. It might be, problem solving, it might be cooking, it might be, like I said, tinkering with cars, whatever. But when you are in creative mode, you are automatically connected to that divine higher vibrational energy. You are automatically connected to that love energy, that big, big capital letter L, love. Whenever you are in a creative mode, you are connected to that divine energy and capable and able to receive messaging from your higher self, from divine consciousness, from the collective wisdom. So anytime you put yourself into a creative mode, you're doing that. What I'm hearing is the thing that stops us from being in a creative mode is perfectionism or productivity. Those are the words I'm hearing. Deciding that it needs to look and be and turn out a certain way can hinder us from wanting to get started, because that can be intimidating. I'm also hearing that productivity is a killer to creativity and that divine consciousness. Now, that's not saying it's bad to be productive. It's good to be productive as long as it doesn't take over things. But creating for the sake of creating, if it ends up being something that you work from or furthers in some way, great. But when you create for the purpose of creating, that alters and shifts the dynamic so that you are more in alignment with that creative energy, with that divine source energy. So tell yourself, when you sit down to be in that creative flow, whatever it is, even running, jogging is oddly enough, I wouldn't have thought that, but that's what I just heard, is also being in that creative flow. You are, okay, the words I heard is that you are recreating your muscles, your strength, your cardiovascular system. You are allowing things to circulate. You're recreating yourself. So even in exercise, even in running or rowing or whatever it is you do, that is creative mode, because you're regenerating, you're creating yourself over again. Anytime you're in that state of flow, you are in creative mode. What I'm hearing is that I just heard you humans, I don't know what that means, but you humans have taken the word being creative, and turned it into something that is either perfectionist or productive. And what we're being asked to do is just allow ourselves to be in a creative flow. Try something, learn something, do something. Allow yourself to be in a creative flow where it turns that mind off. I just heard we turn our minds off a lot, but we turn our minds off by escaping. We turn our minds off by scrolling endlessly on social media or watching TV or even like substances or whatnot. We turn our minds off, but it's different. Turning your mind off is one thing. Turning that critic off and those limitations, that's the word I'm hearing, turning the limitations off and being open to that creative spirit or that higher self or that divine consciousness is different than just turning the mind off. And yes, sometimes when you had a busy day and you need to de-stress and relax, sometimes just turning the mind off is wonderful. But I'm hearing that being able to turn the mind off in a creative way, no matter what that is. I even heard doing the dishes can even be creative, was what I just heard. If you are mindful in that you are doing the dishes and you're feeling the warm water and you are creating a clean, healthy environment, and you have that mindset and purpose, you can change something mundane like doing the dishes into a creative act. Anytime you're in that state of creating, in that state of flow, you are automatically connected to divine consciousness. You're automatically connected to your own higher self and therefore able to receive those internal messages. So yeah, I just heard, even the state of doing the dishes can be a creative thing, as long as we're not doing it from a source of stress. Oh, I gotta get this clean, like, but if we actually are like, that warm water feels beautiful. And, as I'm washing these dishes, I'm washing away what doesn't serve us. And, I'm cleansing and clearing and balancing my space, my mind, my body, and my spirit as we're doing dishes. I'm going to totally do dishes this way next time. I can't say that I've ever done dishes exactly that way, but now that I'm hearing how that can be, it sounds divine. It totally changes what doing dishes would be like, right? So, but even that can be an act of creation. At any time we are in that space of creation, It allows us to be connected to our own higher self as well as divine consciousness and collective consciousness. And creativity and being creative can be as simple as doing the dishes or going for a walk or painting a picture. It can be anything as long as you're in that creative space, that creative flow allows us to be open. Again, I heard it's our responsibility that we've been given these gifts, we've been given these abilities. I just heard we have been given the ability to reframe mundane tasks into transcendence, is the word that I just heard. So allowing doing the dishes to be a transcendent activity. We have been given the brain capacity, the ability to connect in that way that we can transcend mundane tasks into this creative element, into this divine connection. And when you think about that, we've been given that ability. I'm hearing it's our responsibility to use that ability. And the more we use it, just like any creative talent, any talent at all, the more you use it, the more you develop it, the more you internalize it, the more you can share it. And so we have been given that ability to transcend mundane tasks into a meditative practice, into a divine practice that is something important and valuable and our responsibility as human beings. I keep hearing that this is your job. As a human being, this is your job. I love that, Jovita, exactly. And yes, Frank, it is lots of wisdom as I'm thinking about the next time I do the dishes. You know, the art of doing ordinary things in magical, divine way. That sounds like the name of a book, I think. The art of doing the ordinary things in the magical and divine way. A book or a course. You know what? I'm going to write that down. Maybe that is something I create in terms of courses for Insight Timer. I've been trying to think of some ideas. I love that. I'm just going to write that down really quick. The art of doing ordinary things in a magical way. There we go. Thank you, Jovita. Maybe we'll co-write that. Jovita has tons of brilliant ideas. Okay. What is next? Next is Nancy take a sip of tea. Mango peach tea today. That's delicious. All right. And what is the next bit of messaging that I hear? So what I got was an image of the, like, as you step, like flowers springing forward from the footprints was the image I got. Sort of a person stepping, and every step they take, flowers are like, right? And what I'm hearing is that every step we take, no matter what it is and what we're doing, this goes back to the same bit of messaging. Every step we take has the potential to create, to bloom, no matter what we do. So what I'm hearing is, where this is a little different from the first bit of messaging, is that every moment we have the power to choose. In this moment, maybe it's reframing how we're thinking about something. Maybe there's a problem, maybe there's something going on, and it's about reframing how we're thinking. We have the choice to, go down one path of our thought process or another path. Every single moment of every single day, we have the capability to create our current reality. And what I mean by that, this is what I'm hearing, is that every step we take, everything we do, even choosing to come on this live, even me choosing to do a live, even like every choice we make has the ability to elevate our being, our consciousness, our attunement is the word I just heard. Our attunement. We can do things in such a way that we become more in tune. We become more connected to that divine consciousness, to our higher selves. And every step we take has the ability to take us either, I'm not hearing further away, you're either where you are now or you're moving forward. And even perceived, so what I'm hearing, perceived like setbacks, I'm hearing very much the word perceived, that you're always like right where you are. And in that exact moment, you have the ability to choose where your thought process, where your creativity lies, is the words that I'm hearing. That you can decide at any given moment how you're going to view the world, view a situation, view a conversation, view yourself, view each other. And we can constantly choose whether we want to be in an elevated creative state, or what I'm hearing is the opposite of that, is not regression or anything, but a stagnant state. So you can either kind of stay in a specific space, or you can be in a creative state. And what I'm hearing is that this is not about blame and shame. If you're stuck a bit in a loop of maybe something's gone on and it's hard for you to release at that moment, even if you release it for a moment and then take it back again the moment later, you've released it for that moment. And in that moment, there's a little bloom, there's a little something. So if you're caught in a negative pattern of thought, maybe something's happened and it's playing out in your mind over and over and over again, for that one little moment that you're able to reframe the thought, focus on something, some learning from that situation, or maybe it's just a divine conscious connection, or maybe it's being here and recognizing that everybody here, there's 60 people here, all love you, and they're all here in that divine moment. Even if it's just for a brief moment in that negative loop, in that pattern loop, that brief moment is like one little seed for those flowers to bloom. And the more, what I'm hearing is the more of those little conscious moments that there are, the more of that creativity, the more of that bloom, the more of that love gets to flourish. And even if it's, what I'm hearing is that the space is in between. So even if you're caught in a pattern and it's difficult to get out of that pattern, any moment that you're out of that pattern of thinking, any moment that you're in a positive state or a creative state, those are time to plant the seeds. Later on, you see the blooms from those seeds. It might not happen right now in this moment, but later on you see the blooms in those seeds. And so every step you take, every choice you make, I feel like I'm singing the Police song, every breath you take, every step you take, every choice you make has the opportunity to be creative, has the opportunity to connect you to that divine source, even for a moment. And every moment is like a seed in the ground that can sprout into a beautiful flower. And, if you've ever had the opportunity to see a field of wildflowers, as one grows, others start to spread, right? And so you get that one, even if it was just for a moment, you were able to let go of something that was, making you heavy. Even for that moment, that's one seed planted. If that one seed grows into a flower, that flower has hundreds of seeds all of a sudden, and then they can grow. So one little tiny seed can grow into a whole beautiful garden, and it's one seed at a time. And we have the opportunity to choose what we can do. And so I'm hearing very consciously that it's not about, oh, you need to be positive all the time. It's every moment that you are able to let go of some of those heavy things. That's one little seed that can grow into a beautiful garden. And so be grateful, be happy, be kind to yourself, that any little moment that is a reprieve from some of the things that are challenging that's producing one plant, which produces thousands of seeds. Exactly, Carla. One flower produces many seeds. So even if you manage just one moment of, I'm just going to let go of those negative thought processes for just a moment, that's one seed planted. Imagine what happens every time you have those one seed, one seed, one seed, one seed. Next thing you know, you have a garden, right? Doesn't mean that everything's always going to be blissful, because part of the human condition is learning. In fact, that is the human condition, learning, which often involves suffering. But this is a way that we can transcend that suffering. We can transcend that. Exactly. You get them weeds, right? Those weeds just creep in, right? And sometimes there's drought, and sometimes there's floods, and sometimes there's all kinds of things. But, right, there's those moments. And if every time there's a moment in between the other stuff, you plant some seeds, by connecting to that divine consciousness, that creative element. And that's what I'm hearing, again, looping back to our original conversation, is that as we are in a creative state, whatever it is, if we're in a creative state, those moments are the moments of planting those seeds. I'm hearing the easiest way for humans to connect. It's weird. I keep hearing the humans, as if whatever I'm getting the messaging from. It's referring to us as a group. All right. Yes, it is encouraging that every tiny bit counts. I'm just going to take a look, because I think I've missed some chat. Carla was doing dishes. Awesome. That's perfect. Locked in and loaded, Nancy, with that word. Awesome. It's the right time. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. And lots of hellos. Good. Yeah. I mean, I imagine my goals by singing the police song, right? I know. Every step you take. Awesome. Yes. Encouraging. Fabulous. All right. What's the next bit of messaging that I hear here? Okay. This is piggybacking on what we were just talking about. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how to word this. So what I'm getting, so what I saw was sort of these peaks and valleys, like an ECG, like if you're getting your heart tested. And so what I'm hearing is that if you have the moment, even if it's a moment, to connect to that creativity, to connect to that divine source, that is a gift. And as you recognize that in this exact moment, even though there might be everything else is going crazy around you, in this moment, I can connect and be here. There is a gratitude for that moment. Because when we're in the thick of things, and in as you know, if things are going on that are stressful or difficult, it's hard to be in that space. So anytime you can be in that space, what I'm hearing is just magnify the magnitude of being able to be in that space. So even if it's for one moment, it's like, okay, for one moment, I am grateful that I have the ability to plant this seed in this moment. And the more we become aware of those moments with gratitude, we understand the magnitude of those moments. Because sometimes when you're in the thick of something, right, when something is just right at that moment going on, it's hard to think clearly. I hear these messages all the time. I try to live by these messages, but I too, right in the middle of something, it's hard to remember. Okay, wait, just take a moment, be calm, just, focus on that gratitude, focus on that creation. What I'm hearing is recognize the gift that being able to connect in those moments will then make the gift more valuable. So rather than thinking, oh, I just connected for a moment, but now the rest of my thinking is all negative. What I'm hearing is the fact that you could do that even for a moment is a gift, and to value that gift. It's kind of like pearls from the dollar store versus pearls that have been cultivated and ethically sourced and da 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 da, right? You got, the, I don't know if that was a great example, but the plastic ones that don't really mean anything necessarily, unless they're given to you by your granddaughter. But those little plastic ones, or something that has like, priceless value, right? What I'm hearing is as we put consciousness and gratitude into that one moment, it then becomes more valuable, right? And to have that perspective. It's not about false positivity. It's about truly being grateful for those little moments of connection. That just got 2 pearls today. That is so cool. I love it. You know what, Yuvita? When I read just now, are you getting message directly from Archangel Uriel? I could be. As you said that, I got shivers. So I'll tell you a story because I don't know if Yuvita, I think I've told you this story, but it's interesting because when I first started kind of channeling messages for myself, mostly through free flow generating, because I can do it for other people, but I couldn't do it for myself without the help of like a card or whatever. And I started free flow generating, and then I asked once, because I like to sign my journals with an N for Nancy. And I was like, when I'm doing free flow journal-writing, I kind of feel like I want to sign it with something else so that I know that it's a different journal and I'm channeling some messaging. And I asked what name can I give this? And what I heard was Yariel, and I spelt it Y-A-R-E-A-L. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll just do that. And I'm like thinking to myself, did I just make that up or whatever? Then, I don't know, a few months later, no, maybe a little bit longer than that, I was at a sound bath. A friend of mine was running, actually Marcus, he's the Marcus Fung on Insight Timer, phenomenal. You should go check him out. Marcus Fung. He's the one that got me on his Insight Timer. He was doing a sound bath, and I went to it, and the person he was doing it with had an accent. I'm not sure where she was from, but she had a strong accent, and she was calling in Archangel Uriel, but she said it as Yariel, and I was like, what? Like, is that who I've been talking to? And so I don't know, maybe, but just now when I read that, I did get a little shiver. So I don't know. I'm not sure, but definitely the messaging is divinely inspired, and I feel it strongly today, divinely inspired. The messaging is coming from you guys. I channel you, but then it's mixed with some divine messaging. And so it is for our highest and best good. So I don't know. All right. Let me just check in. Next bit of messaging. So what I heard just now, clear as day, sounded like little bells. It was like, why doubt what you know? Why doubt what you know? Well, that's a good question. So I guess I sometimes feel like if I say it's Archangel Uriel, and I'm like, what if I'm wrong? And what if I'm, but what I'm hearing is why doubt what you know? And then the other part of that, I'm hearing to tell you a story, is that I was explaining past life stuff to somebody who was asking me questions. They had never really given it much thought before. At the time, they were firm believers of heaven, hell, and I'm not here to try and change anybody's belief, but they were asking me about my belief in past lives. And then as I was telling them, what I heard is that whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right doesn't really matter as long as it's helping me. If it helps me to be a good human and to connect to divine source, to believe that I've come here with a special purpose and that there's a soul contract and all the different things that I believe, even if someone else says, no, that's not true, it's this, if I believe this, as long as it's not hurting anybody and as long as it's connected to that divine source energy, which is truly from a place of love, belief systems need to be challenged when they're not from a place of love, when it is exclusionary to anybody or causes harm to anybody. However, even somebody recently had a family member pass, and they were finding, I can't remember what it was that they were finding, but they were seeing sort of a regular pattern in something, and they were saying, I feel like this is my father reaching out to me. And they were wanting to negate it and be like, well, it's probably just my imagination. And it's like, but why? If it helps you to feel like this is your father reaching out to you, how does that hurt anything? Right? As humans, we want to negate everything and want to, at least for me, I'm a bit of, I'm afraid of offending anybody or saying something, you know, that indirectly causes harm or something like that. I'm so very aware of that. But if it's coming from a place of love and it doesn't hurt anything, then why negate, you know? And I'm also hearing, I just heard it goes further than that. You negate what you know. And I guess I do that. I guess I do that. Even with this kind of recent development in my gift, there's a part of me that's kind of negating it and going, well, maybe it's not real. Maybe it's, you know. But this goes on for all of you as well, that when you feel in your heart that something is true, right? Is true, you know, then, and it's not hurting anybody else and it's not hurting you, then why not? Why not believe it? Why not believe that right now Archangel Uriel is part of the messaging process? I just heard finally. That's hilarious. Yeah. So why not? Right? Does it hurt anything? No. So I need to work on that. There you go. That was a bit of messaging for me directly. Hopefully that was helpful for all of you as well. I feel like being afraid of offending anyone is the first step to being Canadian. Yes, it is. Signed a fellow Canadian. Absolutely. There's definitely, we want to look after each other. It's more than just Canadians, but I know. All right. Any next bit of messaging? No, we're going to move into the next portion. I'll do take people's questions. Put your name in if you're interesting. If you're interesting, put your name in if you are interested for an individual reading.